So a plan for improvement. So what you want to do is after you play, now I have a really good memory because it's probably some saturated in the game, 2-3 days later I could tell you which way every putt broke that I played, but a lot of people, their memory isn't that long, so whatever your time lag is, typically after the round, start to think about a few things so you can put a plan into progress. Now one of the things you want to track is what we would call awful shots. Yeah, that's right, awful shots. Let's have a little look at a chart and we'll see what they mean. As you look at this chart here, you'll see it says 1 point for awful down at the bottom and 2 points for double awful. Well, what is an awful shot? Well, it's a shot with little or no gain. So for instance, one of those examples might be if you hit your 3-wood 180 yards, less than half of that distance. If you hit less than half of that, that's an awful shot. That would be 90 yards. How about hitting it into the bunker from within 50 yards of the green? Or of course, just hitting it out of play or in a recovery type situation. Now, not all awful shots are created equal. Some aren't so damaging as others, but if let's say you have a decent line, you've got a 3-wood into the green, you only top it 10 yards, that would be a double awful. Or a complete miss hit where the ball winds up out of bounds, we could say that's a 2 points double awful. Now you see there the averages for different levels of player, 80 golf for 2 to 3 points, 90 golf for about 6, and 100 golf for about 9. First off, you want to see how you stack up against that. Are you racking up too many points in the awful shot category? And secondly, are they really due to strategy? For instance, you try to carry a water hazard off the tee, you hit a good shot, but you don't quite make it. In other words, you really made a strategic error where unless you hit your best shot, you got penalized. Or maybe you went for a super tight pin on a 50-yard sand wedge and came up just short and hit the lip of the bunker. That might be a strategic error. But again, topping a ball from a decent lie 30 yards, that's obviously an execution error. But this little table will give you a chance to see how you stack up against players of your level, and you can pinpoint and say, hey, how many times when I have these awful shots are they due to strategic error? Next, you want to look at the things you want to practice. I mean, what are the shots you're getting a lot of when you play? Obviously, tee shots, you're going to get that. How about second shots? Are you someone that typically has a lot of fairway wood type second shots? You want to put your time in there. Maybe you're a stronger player, you don't play the course as long, kind of like I was suggesting with my game. So I have a lot of shorter irons into greens. That's where I would practice. Now, hey, if you're a tour pro, you got time to practice everything. You and I probably don't so much. Around the greens, you'd look at the distance you typically miss greens by. Most people that are really, really good players miss greens by 5, 6, 7 yards. 30 handicapper might miss a lot of greens off their second shots 30 yards away. Emphasize those shots. Similarly, the course you play would dictate that. If you have a lot of enormous greens on your golf course, you're probably going to have a lot of long putts. You want to use those. The golf course we've been filming at, Mediterranean, has a lot of shaved down swales or collection areas. There's a lot of chip shots, bumping it up hills and onto greens. Those would be the sorts of shots. And of course, if you play, a very heavily bunkered course, you're going to get a lot of bunker shots. You might want to think about practicing those. Okay, finally, you might want to think about for a season, let's say your golf season, a particular thing you really want to upgrade that year. Could be length off the tee. Now you might need to find a pro and get some help personally with that. Could be just overall quality of contact that will relate to second shots, or maybe one aspect of your short game like bunker play or anything such as that that's relevant to you feel is a real weakness. Try to step that up, but give yourself time to really put that into practice. I've got this club here. If you're one of these people that has very little time to practice, you're in the middle of your life with work and kids and all that, and realistically you say, you know what, other than warm up, it isn't going to happen for me. Do a little bit of practice at home. That is such a small time commitment. Grab that club a couple of times a week, work through a few things you're going with, that you're trying to work on, familiarize yourself with just a few positions, literally a few minutes a day, 2 times a week will add up and make a substantial difference over time. Hope you've enjoyed this series and that you'll be playing better golf and having more fun as a result.